and then the root end. The stem end, this is the part that comes out of the earth, and then the root end, and this is what we're going to call the hairy butt. Keep the stem, cut the butt, and I'll show you how to do that. First thing, we don't peel it to start. We're just going to take it using the claw, hold on securely, and cut down and cut off the stem. This goes in your discard pile. Take this, now roll it to the very flat side and cut straight through the butt. When you cut through the butt, you're going to start seeing that it's easier to peel now, and you can take your fingers and get it underneath there and peel off all the brown papery stuff. You don't want to leave any paper left on your onion. If it's slightly brown, take it off. Now you have this, you have 2 butts, and you have a whole half an onion. You're going to take the butts facing forward with your knife, pinching at the blade. We're making incision cuts like this. I have my claw hand here, and I'm going to work my way from right to left across the onion. Make these nice little incision cuts. The smaller the incision cut, the smaller your onion will be at the end. Towards the end, if I don't feel secure with my left hand here, I'm going to move it over here and just push up against it. It makes it a little bit easier. Move that there. Same thing here. Again, I can push it over here, and that's perfectly legal. Cut down, now move it aside. Now, the reason why you keep the butt is so it stays secure and it's all held together. All these layers are held together. Take it and give it a quarter turn so the cut end is facing your right hand and the butt's facing your left. And now you're going to rock and roll it through, just so you have a diced onion. Let's do the other half. Rock and roll it through. If you have a little bit of butt that gets in your onion, you can take this and dice through it, make it a little bit small, and that should be it. Your diced onion should be approximately the size of a grain of rice, about that size. Okay, so we're going to be dicing a potato into a medium dice, which is about a 1/2 inch thick. You want to take a potato at the edge, at the tip, and you're using the peeler, and just peel down like this. If you see some greening on your potato, don't freak out. That's just the way they turn sometimes after sitting around too long. The potatoes stay pretty good for a very long time. In fact, they should last throughout the winter if you keep them cold and in a dark environment. So once the potato is peeled, remove all your peels so that they don't get put into your food. Use your knife for that. Once it's peeled, the first thing we're going to do is cut a flat side on the potato so we can roll it to it. So I'm just going to take the potato and cut a slight sliver and put it on the side. I'm going to roll it to the flat side and cut 1/2 inch slats, just like across this way. And this is going to be the basis of our dice. Just take my knife, I'm pinching the blade, holding my hands like this, and I'm cutting it into 1/2 inch pieces. Now if my potato were larger, I'd do it more times, but this is a pretty small potato. You can see they're about the same width as one another. Next thing I'm going to do is take each of these, turn it on its side, or I can stack them, and I'll show you that in a second. I'm going to cut really thick cut French fries, the same thickness as the width. So I'm using the rocking motion, and I'm going to put them aside. Using the rocking motion, put it aside. And now I have these really thick cut French fries. Well, I want a 1/2 inch dice, so what I'm going to do is collect my thick cut French fries, stack them all up together, use my knife to even it out, and I'm going to cut across, quarter turn, cut across, and I'm using my left hand as a guide. It's going to be my claw hand to guide me through the potatoes, and you can always rearrange them, make it a little bit more comfortable for yourself. And once you're done, you should have a bunch of diced potatoes. Ideally, your potatoes should be like a dice, so you could roll it, if you put little dots on it or not. You need to store these in water, otherwise they will turn brown. Thanks. So your carrot, it's going to have a stem end and an end that goes into the ground. You want to start peeling it, hold it from the stem end, and use your peeler to the most maximum capacity, have it go back and forth on it. You want to make sure you get the whole thing peeled, otherwise it'll start to discolor. Let's take away the scraps. We're going to be doing a julienne of carrot. Julienne means matchstick-like pieces. It should more or less resemble a matchstick. So that's what I'm going to be going for here. To begin, we're going to take our carrot and divide it up into pieces about this long. It's about 1.5 to 2 inches. So I'm first take off the end because it doesn't look pretty. Then I'm going to move it over here and cut that 2-inch lengths. And this is a perfect carrot because we can get almost perfect 2-inch lengths. The next thing we do, because it's a round object, we want to cut a flat side so we can roll it back on the side, just like the potato. I'm going to put this here, roll it to the flat side, now it's sturdy. Using my pinch of the knife and my claw grip, I'm going to slice down. I'm going to try to use this part of the knife because we have the most strength to it. So, I'm slicing down, and these are only between a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch thick. So thin to win on this one. If it gets uncomfortable and you feel a little unsteady at this time, you can roll it down so it's on the flat side. I'm going to cut these an 1/8 inch thick. I'm going to go on and do the rest of my carrots the same way. Move them over here. Once these are done, I'm going to stack these. And I can do 2 or 3 to a stack, or if you're not comfortable with that, you can just do 1 at a time and cut, like the French fry potato, into 1/8 inch wide. So your Julienne should look like this. When you get more proficient, you can stack them up onto one another and cut down like that. You want to do the rocking motion, and you're letting the knife follow your hands, and you know where your hands are at all times because of the cloth. Stack these here. This one's a little big. This. Julienne carrots are seen a lot of times in stir fries. Sometimes they look great with green beans. You can also take these. I'll show you in a moment once I have all my carrot Julienne strips. They should be about this big. Once I have them all done, I can use them for a lot of things, particularly because they cook up really quick because they're so small. But another thing I can do is take these and make them into a brunoise. Brunoise means little tiny dice. It's a fancy French term. So to do that, I'm going to take it like this, and then I'm going to use the side of my knife to like even them up. Get all the other stuff out of the way, even them up. And I'm going to be cutting just like the potato across like that, just like we're doing a diced potato. These are a little tinier. So you can see how small that is. These are nice in pasta sauces. It adds a lot of natural sweetness. When you purchase garlic at the store, you purchase it as a head of garlic. Usually recipes don't call for heads of garlic unless it's roasted. Inside this head are multiple cloves of garlic, and a clove is just one. To open this up, you could laboriously peel this apart, or you could just take the flat of your knife, and clean this off, take the flat of your knife, and tap it a couple times till it's flat. I'm just going to take my hand, the palm of my hand, and tap down lightly. Oopsie. And they kind of shoot out. So you can see how that happens, and it kind of breaks it apart. Now I've got a bunch of cloves in here. I'm going to move it aside. To mince a clove of garlic, you're going to need to peel all this off. Just like an onion, it's really papery and none of this is edible. So to do so, I'm going to take the flat of my knife again, put it down on a flat surface, and I want to move my cutting board closest to me. I'm going to take my knife, put it down flat, again with the palm of my hand, I'm going to pop it. Once I pop it, you can see how easy it is to peel. I've discard this. With this, I'm going to take it close to my hand again, knife in my hand, the blade, I'm going to pop it one more time to smash it down a little bit. And when I did that, now it's 90% done. I'm going to take my right hand, and run it through with my left hand in the claw position, and then I'm going to do the choppy choppy. Choppy choppy is what I call when you put your hand on the top, you pinch your blade, and your blade is moving horizontally versus vertically. And I'm just going across the garlic like this, scraping when I get to the end. And I want to make sure I get all my pieces of garlic in there. Every once in a while I'll use my finger. And this is minced garlic. The next thing I'm going to show you is... Stop. Sorry. Next thing I'm going to do is garlic paste. Again with the flat side of the knife. Pop it just to peel it. Take it off. If you have a little greening, that's not a big deal. Sometimes you get little shoots. and that's where it's just kind of trying to come up from the ground. I'm going to take it again, pop it with the side of my hand, flatten it out. Now, instead of mincing it like this garlic, I'm going to mash it. What I want to make is a paste. So I'm going to add a liberal amount of kosher salt to the middle of it, just to the middle. And I'm going to be using this side of the knife and my hand. So, move the cutting board as close to you as you can. You want your knife blade to be hanging over the edge, and I'm going to be grinding this garlic into the board. And I'm just taking it and mashing it down. The reason why we use salt, because it works as an abrasive and helps break the garlic down. Just mashing it down. Mashing it down, and what you'll have at the end is a garlic paste. Slightly different than minced garlic. So parsley grows in the earth. You have to make sure you wash it really well, and it's got these long stems, so this one's pretty much picked over. What you want to do to take off the leaves from the stems, just kind of pull it, and they'll come off relatively easy. Most of this has already been done for me, but I just want to pull them off. And you can have a little stem in there. It's not a huge big deal. Once you have most of the stems gone, you can throw those away or put them in your stock. You're going to gather up your parsley into a tight little wad. Okay, and once it's in a ball, you're going to put it in your claw hand, make it nice and tight. You're going to be doing the rock step straight through it, all the way to the other side. And I'm keeping my hand really close in my fingers, and I'm running along my middle finger. And stopping until I get to the end. Now this is pretty good. This is actually called the chiffonade, which means like shredded parsley, but what I want is chopped parsley. So what I'm going to do now is use the choppy motion. My left hand is on top of the blade. I'm pinching the blade. Knife is horizontal, and I'm going to run my knife through like this. This only has to be done a couple of times to make it a little bit finer. You don't want to bruise it too much, and you want to start off with a sharp knife so it doesn't get black. Okay. Minced parsley. Now we're going to be dicing celery. To do so, the first thing we want to do is cut it into more manageable lengths. I always compare the length of whatever you're cutting to your knife, and if it's more than half your knife, you want to cut it into smaller things. So I'm just going to cut it in half. This is a washed piece of celery. And I'm going to take it like this, and I'm going to cut it into a julienne while rolling it and following my hand like so. I'm just going to cut it down like this. And once I get it like this, these are nice little sticks, I'm going to take it, give it a quarter turn, and cut it across. So these are nice small dice. If you want a larger dice for something like soup or so, you could just take it, slice it in half like this, and then cut across like so. And this is more appropriate for soups versus this, which would be more for sauces. So to sharpen your knife, we're going to be using two different types of steels. This one is more commonly available. This is what you get in a knife set, knife block, and this has got a really fine grind to it, and it just takes down any burrs that happen in your knife. Burrs are just little nicks that happen with wear and tear. This, on the other hand, is called a diamond steel, and you can see how it's different from this one. It's got two flat sides, and it's elongated. This one is embedded with diamonds on it, which are the hardest substances. So this one will cost a little bit more, and you have to buy it separately, but you can pick up one at a restaurant supply store for $30, versus this one, which you can usually pick them up for $15, $20. So I'm going to show you how to use both of them in two different ways. The first way is the way that I teach students to do it. Take a towel, relatively clean towel, fold it over so it's nice base for it. And what you're going to be doing is taking your steel, positioning it straight in the middle. You're going to lower yourself down so the steel, the bottom of the steel is about chest height. And take your knife, your dry knife, and you want to hold it at a 20-degree angle, 20 to 25-degree angle. And you're going to be taking it without any pressure and bring it down the knife like this. Now you have to make sure you do the other side as well, so I'm going to be doing it on both sides. While you're doing this, I want you to listen for the sound of the steel. It should sound kind of like an ice skater if it sounds good. And that's about it. What you want to make sure though is that you get the entirety of the knife from the very back to the very tip. So I'm making sure I get it all the way to the back, line it up, and then pull down. If you don't get the entirety of the blade, you run the risk of not sharpening this part of your knife, which will lead you a hard time when you're trying to do the rocky. So do this a couple more times. Now let's go on to the diamond steel. Diamond steel is the same idea, but we're going to use the two flat sides and we're going to face left and right. Left and right. So same idea. You can use the top as a guide, 20 to 25 degrees, and bring it straight down. And I'm making sure I'm getting the full blade every time because I don't want the back of the knife not to be sharp. When I'm done, you have to make sure you clean your blade off because this is knife and that would go into your food, which is gross. Second way you can do it is in your hands. This is when you get a little bit more confident. You're going to take the steel in your hand like this. I like to hand it just right in front of me. And I'm going to go straight down on both sides at a 20-degree angle. You want to make sure you don't nick your thumb. So some people move their thumb here. I'm more comfortable with here, but you're holding on to the steel like a batter. And you can go straight down like this. It's a little bit faster, and you don't need to find a towel, but in the same respect, it's a little bit more dangerous. For the diamond steel, same idea. Straight down, flat side of the diamond steel, and let it run through the whole thing. You want to use the entirety of the steel, not just the top, not just the bottom, because you want to wear your steel uniformly, not just in two spots. Again, make sure you wipe your blade clean. There's the knife. Now your blade should be pretty sharp.